Washington State comes on the road to NRG Stadium to take on Dana Holgorsen and Houston. Hi, everybody. Dave Fleming alongside Louis Riddick. Paul Carcaterra is with us as well. We expect a really fun game, a really high-scoring game. We'll talk a lot about the air raid system. This game, though, Louis, is not just about scheme. Washington State on offense has a lot of talent.
Yeah, they have a lot of talent, and it's about scheme and it's about players. And for quarterback Anthony Gordon in his first year as a starter, as a fifth-year senior, there's a reason why you complete 80% of your passes and over 800 yards in the first 2 games, and that's because of the scheme of Mike Leach and the players that he has at his disposal. And when you look at the scheme here in this first clip, look, this is basically going to be what they call like a pin route and a post route on the top of the screen here. And here it's going to be about Roderick Fisher really getting after it as far as this post route is concerned. You're going to see the number 2 receiver run up on the safety, influence the safety, draw him in, and then Roderick Fisher, who has 10 400-meter speed, just sprints past the corner, and Anthony Gordon puts it on him. And then when you're just talking about players, you're going to get man-to-man down here at the bottom of the screen. And here it's going to be about Desmond Patton, just running an option route against man-to-man coverage. And you see Anthony Gordon put it on him, and then big man just takes off. You're talking about a 6'4", 230-pound wide receiver who can run like that. That's why you put up the type of numbers that you put up early on in the season like this. And I would expect to see much more of the same here in this game tonight.
All right, well, Mike Leach and his offense, they're going to be on the field first tonight because they won the toss, and they have elected to receive the opening kickoff. So we will see that high-powered Washington State offense on the field to begin this game. Harris is deep to receive for the Cougars of Wazzu. We got 2 Cougars in this game, so we're going to have to be specific. And a really fun atmosphere. This should be a good one. A low kind of squib kick, and it's kind of bobbled by Harris. He'll scoop it up inside the 10 and get dragged down outside the 20. That's where Washington State will start, and we'll say hello to Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Dave, Anthony Gordon's a prime example of patience in college football. In a day and age where the transfer portal is running rampant, Gordon has stayed the course. If you look at his journey, he was an under-the-radar recruit with no offers out of high school. He went the JUCO route. Committed to Mike Leach in 10 minutes. Last year he was in a quarterback battle, which ultimately he lost to Gardner Minshew. As a 5th-year senior, he told me, those experiences have made him believe himself and capture the moment.
All right, Clark, he is a really good story. He's got all kinds of time to throw, and his running back helped him out. That's Max Borghi, who is a super talented sophomore with a nice one-handed catch.
Well, this is something that Houston can't afford to have happen tonight. And that meaning you can't get if you can't get pressure on this quarterback, he's just going to dump it off to a guy like Borghi and then let him run. And Max Borghi is going to show you right there. Think Christian McCaffrey. I know it's an easy comparison. The guys look very similar in terms of their play style, and he has those all-around type of abilities.
A handoff to Borghi, who will push his way forward and get the first down. Took some big hits. But Washington State has its first down of the night here. We're playing in the dome inside ideal conditions for both of these offenses that want to spread the ball around. They want to throw it around. If you're the air raid, you like playing indoors. I mean, that is a good thing for both coaches, I think. So Anthony Gordon on 1st and 10. And we do welcome those of you joining us from Winston-Salem. A lot of drama there. We don't know if we will have that much drama. We sure hope so. We do believe we'll have more points in this game. This is the air raid special. Mike Leach, Dana Holgorsen, 2 guys who've known each other forever, for decades, who are going head-to-head. And a lot of offense is expected in this game. Washington State won the toss, took the opening kickoff. They have 1 first down so far. It's 2nd and 6. For the Washington State Cougars, a battle of Cougar versus Cougar. Dave Fleming, Louis Riddick, Paul Carcaterra. Happy you're with us here indoors, NRG Stadium here in Houston on a Friday night. And Anthony Gordon, the 5th-year senior quarterback, hands it off to his young running back Max Borghi, who so far, it's early in this game, but he's getting a lot of touches for Wazzu.
Yeah, you can tell right now that Coach Leach is just trying to figure out what Houston's going to try and do to him. Are they going to leave 2 safeties deep? Or they're going to drop a safety down in the boxes and actually honor the run? Because if you leave 2 safeties deep, that means the box is light, and Max Borghi should have a big night. So far, you can see he's a part of this game plan early as far as getting some early touches, running the ball, catching the ball in the flat, just moving the chains.
It will get loud inside, and the Houston fans are making noise on 3rd and 1. A play fake. And Gordon will complete that with the catch in the open field. How about that? Tay Martin, I thought if he just bounced it outside, he would have had the first down. And Grant Stewart was right there to pull him down. 4th down.
This is exactly what defensive coordinator Joe Carlton talked about. No yards after the catch. When you get your hands on him, put him on the ground. That's as good a tackle as Grant Stewart could possibly make. He's the leading tackler on this football team. He's the heart and soul of this defensive football team in particular. That's a tremendous start.
And how about this? Why not? It's Mike Leach. You want offense? We're going for it on 4th down, just a few minutes into the game. Plenty of time to get the play off. 4th and 1 right away. And Gordon looks right, completes it. That looked easy for the first down, Washington State. First catch for Aesop Winston. Those two have known each other since junior college days, quarterback and wide receiver. Coach Leach doesn't even bat an eye. Go for it on your side of the field and throw the ball on 4th and 1.
Look, he's got a bunch of athletes out here on the perimeter. These guys are 5, 6, 7, 8 deep. I mean, 8 deep worth of guys that can absolutely burn you.
And for those of you who missed our open, Lewis made the point. Well, we're going to talk a lot about air raid scheme with 2 coaches who have helped develop and perfect this system that is prevalent at all levels of football these days. We got like a reunion of football minds here tonight, but it's not just about scheme. It's also about talent, and especially on the Washington State side on offense, they have a lot of talent. Down the right sideline and incomplete. Borghi tried to make another one-handed catch. This time couldn't pull it in. So 2nd and 10 for Washington State. Not rushing in terms of the play clock. Gordon on the move, throws across his body, incomplete. Martin was coming open, but the 2 could not connect. It's 3rd down.
What you're seeing from Houston is they're doing a good job of matching the patterns down the field, meaning this, they're not getting a whole lot of pressure on Anthony Gordon so far right now, but what they're doing is they're really anticipating the routes, closing off the throwing windows. Because typically Anthony Gordon has been able to find receivers so far in the first 2 games in the regular season. Tonight, it's just a little bit of a slow start. This is something I didn't really expect.
Well, the level of competition is definitely different for Washington State here tonight. Pressure picked up. That throw is knocked away, incomplete. Good defense from Deontay Anderson, a very talented safety. It's 4th and 10, and this time I would not expect Washington State to go for it.
Well, that's just good man-to-man coverage. You can just see it right here. Defensive back just really, absolutely just playing tight to man-to-man coverage, reading the throw, getting his hand on the football. That's as good as you can possibly play it against a high-powered offense like this, and that's a great start. A great start for Dana Holgorsen's defensive football team.
So an angled punt and a fair catch signal right at the 10-yard line. That's where Houston, after they come up with a stop, their air raid style offense will come on the field when we come back. Well, it's a beautiful night here in Houston, Texas. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Although I do have to say, I'm glad we're indoors with the air conditioning pumping at NRG Stadium. Dave Fleming, Lewis Riddick with you here. Offense, 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 air raid, Holgorsen, Leach. We got to stop the first time Washington State had the ball.
Go figure. It's not very often that Washington State isn't putting the ball in the end zone. So for Houston to get them off the field, it's as good a start as you can expect.
Not great field position, but the Cougars of Houston will take it. Just over 4 minutes in, Houston has the ball for the first time against a Washington State defense that the Cougars of Pullman, Washington, believe will be a good unit. A little easy completion for De'Aaron King across the 15 for a nice gain on first down. Anthony Gordon's had a great start to the year. De'Aaron King has had a great career already at Houston. He's not a big guy. He is super dynamic and athletic.
No doubt about it. Look, he is a run-pass threat in the truest sense. He is a guy who can tuck it and run and just rip you for a 50, 60-yarder, or he can distribute the football to some very good skilled position players. And you just saw one of them in Marquez Stevenson.
Handoff and a nice run for a first down. That is Kyle Porter, who starts at running back. They have a couple good ones. We'll see how they use their running backs. And let's go down to Paul Carcaterra.
The numbers are staggering with King, but he told me yesterday when I spent some time with him, he wants to prove himself as a pocket passer. Play more like Russell Wilson, go through his progressions. When things break down, then use the feet. And Lewis, you know this better than anyone. Can he take the beating is the question.
We don't know the answer yet, but he has taken a beating, that's for sure. Last year and already early this year, swings one out, and that one had a chance to be a backwards pass. Now it's blown dead with the whistle. That was pretty close, intended for Kyle Porter. Incomplete, and I guess it was just barely forward.
See, these swing routes to running backs they're a little bit more difficult than you think.
Yeah, he threw it forward, I think.
Yeah, he puts it behind Kyle Porter on that. He's got to put it out in front of him and just let him catch and run. These are the types of things you're going to want to see De'Aaron to show continued improvement on throughout this game. Putting the ball in good spots, because they have the weapons now to catch and run and make some big plays, just like Washington State. But it's going to all hinge on his ability to put the ball in good spots, which is something Anthony Gordon has done so far this year.
2nd and 22. A handoff and a huge hole again. Well, Houston is finding some running lanes. That's Patrick Carr, who is playing for the first time here in week 3.
What you're seeing is they're finding the seams inside here, and Washington State is not doing a very good job as far as gap control and getting ball carriers on the ground. It's something they struggled with last week against Northern Colorado. It seems as though they haven't gotten it corrected. And look, Dana Holgorsen watches tape too. He says, hey, look, we don't have to throw it all over the place. We can run the football against this team, and they clearly have come out and tried to establish that.
As we talk about air raid here tonight, it is a difference between Holgorsen and Leach. Dana Holgorsen wants to run the ball more. That's his wrinkle, part of his wrinkle on this Mike Leach air raid system. Play clock down almost all the way to 0. King got it off. Now he's in scramble mode. He throws on the move and right on the money. A pass completed with a block down the sideline and tackled into Washington State territory. Keith Corbin, the senior, with the catch and run.
But De'Aaron King, he's putting on a show already, and Keith Corbin averaged 17.3 yards per reception last year on just a simple crossing route. De'Aaron King buys some time, and now it's that yardage after the catch. It's missed tackles. It's the kind of thing that haunted Washington State last week, and if they don't get it corrected, they're going to be in for a fight tonight, because Houston obviously is on to something as far as running the football, and De'Aaron King, he knows he has to have a big night.
End of quarter number 1 here in Houston, Texas. The Cougars against the Cougars on Friday night.
If you can believe it, we're scoreless in Houston. Yesterday, I spent some time with De'Aaron King. Let me tell you, he keeps a tidy apartment for a college kid, and the place has some views. He likes sneakers, and so do I. A lot in common. He's got the collection. And we played some pool, and neither of us were any good, regardless of what he tells you. But he did win. And after football, whenever that career is over, he wants to be a coach, just like his dad.
Hanging with Kark. De'Aaron King, who is a super kid who started his career here after a record-setting high school career as a wide receiver. And they're going to hand the ball off on first down. Left side running. And a good, powerful run from Patrick Carr.
You saw the speed of De'Aaron King. When I was at his apartment yesterday, the first thing he showed me in his room, his state championship track ring. The kid absolutely flies.
And in fairness to Tom Herman and the staff that was here at Houston when King committed and first showed up on campus, they recruited him as a quarterback. He was in the quarterback room. They had Greg Ward. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. They needed King to be on the field, so he started his career as a wideout. Major Applewhite finally turned the reins over to De'Aaron King. And the Houston offense has been rolling ever since. That's Christian Trahan. One difference between Dana Holgorsen's air raid and Mike Leach's is Dana will actually use a tight end.
Absolutely, and that's a nice job right there of Derek King, going through his reads, staying patient, not breaking the pocket, and just reading that out and dumping it off to Christian Trahan, and then just getting a nice pickup.
This is the 11th play of the drive for Houston. Inside the 30 of Washington State, King rolling out, takes a big hit and kind of flings it up there. He actually never went down to the turf, but still got knocked to the side and forced the incompletion. Skylar Thomas was the guy in there to make the play.
Look, if there's a guy on Washington State's defense that you're going to hear his name tonight, it's going to be Skylar Thomas. Easily their most explosive player on the defensive side of the ball. Plays the nickel position. You'll see him blitz. You'll see him be a part of the run front. He'll match up against the opponent's best slot wide receiver. He's a do-it-all type of guy, and he's going to have a big game, especially as far as the run game is concerned tonight. And so far, Houston has really gotten after him running the football.
They have. Houston's run the ball for 87 yards. They've got 149 total yards. Washington State has 59. And they are bleeding the clock as well. King, a design quarterback run. Gets dragged down at about the 21. That's Justice Rogers with the tackle. Derek King ran for over 100 yards against Oklahoma. I know that game wasn't real pretty for Houston, and their defense got lit up by maybe the most explosive offense in the country, but still 100 yards on the ground for King against the Sooners.
Yeah, and he knew he was going to have to play that type of game tonight as far as putting himself in harm's way. He's going to have to run the football a little bit. He's going to have to be efficient throwing it. But this is the area right here where Tracy Clay said we have to be good in the red zone on third down, holding the field goals, and we've done our job.
Tracy, the old head coach of Minnesota, now the D coordinator at Washington State. That pass incomplete. There was contact, and here comes the flag. I think the contact came early.
Absolutely.
Marcus Strong with the coverage, maybe their best cover man. Bryson Smith back on the field was the intended receiver.
Yeah, it looked like the ball was a little bit underthrown.
Pass interference, defense number 4. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
I think he held him and then interfered.
Yeah, it's one of the toughest things for a defensive back on an underthrown ball like that. When you're trying to track the ball, the wide receiver slows down and you just run into him. That's why they pay you the big bucks in the NFL to play corner out there, because it's tough now. But that's a very fortunate break for Houston. Now here they got it, 1st and goal.
Yeah, it's a good point. What do you do if you're in coverage there on a ball like that? The 13th play of the drive. King faked it. King kept it and got spun around and tackled by Jahad Woods. You want me to impress you with alma mater from a different high school?
Yeah, go ahead. Throw it out there.
Jahad Woods, Helix High School. Our colleague at ESPN, Bill Walton, played his basketball at Helix. How about Alex Smith and Reggie Bush in the same backfield for Helix High?
That works. Well, California's got some ballers. There's
Yes,
no question about that across all sports.
And Mike Leach loves to go into California and get kids for this Washington State program. 2nd and goal for Houston. King swings it out. Cut upfield, but the Washington State defense was right there. Kyle Porter had nowhere to go.
That's a nice job by linebacker Justice Rogers of getting out there and making an open field tackle. And look, him and Jahad Woods, you could tell that they have really picked it up so far after those first couple of drives, because they're going to play a big role in this game as far as stopping the run and making tackles against those short passes.
A little quicker tempo there on 3rd down. King whistles right in there. Touchdown, Houston. Maybe they lulled them to sleep a little bit with the slower tempo. Then they got up there on 3rd down, snapped the ball, and that was a great delivery to Marquez Stevenson.
Well, that was an absolute laser to Stevenson here at the top of the screen. You're going to see him just come inside, and you see Derek King just puts it on him there and just puts it on him in a hurry. That's what we needed. Houston needed to see Derek throw the football with accuracy and timing. He delivered that one on time, and they jumped out to an early lead.
The extra point is up and good. Houston started this quarter with the football. They just got it into the end zone. They went 82 yards on 15 plays, took 7.5 minutes, and Houston's got the first touchdown of the night.
Poor technique there by Beekman. Great throw by Derek King. And we got a ball game here. And this is not the start Washington State was expecting.
There's nobody there for that safety to cover. Washington State doesn't have a point on the board. They have not had the ball in this second quarter. How do you stop the air raid and keep them off the field? Les Miles looking for a road win. How about the Jayhawks? They lost at home to Coastal Carolina last week. Gordon delivers and a big hit. Arconado hung on to the ball. Ouch on both ends. Gleason Sprewell is hurting. They're already down a safety.
That's a good clean hit. And Brendan Arconado, look, he is as tough as they come. This is a former walk-on now that is absolutely he's really pacing the group as far as production so far this year catching the football. And Gleason Sprewell, well, that's a good hit as you can get. Has his head off to the side, hits him with the top of his shoulder. It's a good, clean, hard football hit. But this is a good football game, and that's a good, clean hit. And I think this is a game that's just going to get more and more interesting the more and more Washington State doesn't have success putting it in the end zone.
They have to be antsy. This pass was delivered for a first down to Aesop Winston outside the 45. First down, Washington State. And a different looking formation. Gordon, is he going to go under center? No. I was about to say you can't be the pure air raid and take a snap under center. In shotgun. They got more normal looking after they broke that initial formation. Another throw across the middle. Tay Martin hangs on, first down. So Washington State on the move.
Yeah, they're going to speed up the tempo a little bit now. I think Coach Leach was like, enough of this. It's time to start getting some completions, Anthony. It's time to start hitting the playmakers. Tay Martin on that one. And you can see they're starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm, running these crossing routes, just getting into the playmakers' hands and letting them go.
Anthony Gordon, first two starts of his college career, completed 81% of his passes. Gordon, instead of going straight ahead, tried to bounce it to the outside. I'm not sure that was the right choice. He gets a couple yards, maybe 3. Max Borghese from Colorado, outside Denver. The inevitable comparisons to Christian McCaffrey. He may not be that level talent because that's pretty high level.
Yeah, he's a multi-dimensional player that can run, block, catch the ball out of the backfield. Mike Leach is very high on this young man.
Gordon with plenty of time over the top, and he's got his man open, caught, touchdown. Aesop Winston. Well, you weren't going to shut him out, but that was a good answer from Washington State.
Well, that's how quickly the game can change there. Look, Gordon and Aesop Winston have had a very hot start this year. They have a tremendous history going all the way back to JUCO. And Aesop's one of those guys who can play inside and play outside and knows this offense inside and out, knows the nuance as far as how to attack coverage and get open. And you saw him there. Anthony Gordon just put it on him, a nice little teardrop throw down the sideline.
50 is 16 for Washington State.
Yeah, and you saw how excited the two of them there were briefly, and they have known each other since their days together at City College of San Francisco. They've known each other a long time. They are big friends. They have had quite a connection here in the early season. Extra point up and good to tie the game.
Look, Anthony Gordon is one of those guys who he just needed to get into a rhythm and to start getting the ball into the hands of wide receivers. You can see Mike Leach started dialing him up, and Anthony Gordon started executing. You see him look left, come back right. Aesop, he set him up perfectly, got behind the defensive back, and it's 6. Now we have a ball game.
Cougars versus Cougars here in Houston. Washington State, number 20 in the country. They are not going to have an easy time of it tonight. They just scored their first points of the night to tie the game 7-7. Maybe now to be off and running for Anthony Gordon, who had such a great start to the year. Now again, New Mexico State, Northern Colorado, both games at home in Pullman. First road test of his major college career. Derek King, meanwhile, he's been tested a lot. And he has come to play here this evening. Completes the pass to Bryson Smith back on the field. Bryson Smith's made a couple big plays for Houston.
Yeah, that was a tremendous job of Bryson Smith adjusting his route as he saw that De'Eric had nowhere to go with it. He just kind of whipped it back outside. The defensive back fell down. And when you don't get pressure on De'Eric King and he decides to sit back there in the pocket and just pick you apart, it's going to be a long day.
King checks the wristband. Now gets lined up. Houston coming off a long touchdown drive last time they had the ball. A little pitch play with the receiver coming across the formation. Nice move. Now there is a penalty flag thrown. This one I don't think is against Houston. I think King got hit, and Washington State's going to get penalized for that.
Foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 92. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Now Marquez Stevenson thought it was against his team, and he was getting upset. No, Marquez is going the other way. Personal foul. So the gain on the play plus 15 yards at the end of it.
Just a little flip. Get him out there on the perimeter. Look, that's not a smart play by Will Rogers. You don't really need to do that when the ball's already gone. That's just going to cost your football team. That's just going to make your head coach.
To the end of the run. First down.
Yeah, we got to move that ball 15 yards farther. I don't know what was going on there, but the penalty comes at the end of the play. So 18 yards plus the 15 yards. That turns into a very big gain. Lots of penalties on both sides in this first half. Mike Leach can complain about that one, but that's going to be called every single time.
Yeah, it's an unnecessary hit.
So first down. King, spin move. De'Eric King bounces it outside. Wow. Inside the 20 for another Houston first down.
These designed runs are just right now giving Washington State fits. And you can see once he right here on the quarterback draw. Just look at that spin move behind the line of scrimmage. And then Justice Rogers has no chance right there. He has no chance of making a play on De'Eric King in space like that. And right now, Dana Holgorsen is doing a tremendous job of creating running lanes, staying balanced between run and pass rather. We got a nice game on our hands.
This building hadn't been around that long. A lot of big events in the history of NRG Stadium, hosting Washington State and Houston here tonight. 7-7. Under 5 minutes to go, second quarter. Not the points that we expected so far, but it's turning into the kind of game we expected. 8 of the last 9 plays on both sides have gone for 10 yards or more. So the offenses have started to find their way.
Yeah, they're making the adjustments. The offenses are getting more comfortable, kind of poking and prodding, just trying to figure out what they can get away with, what they can hit the opposing defenses with. Now it's going to be the defense's time to adjust here, especially here. Once again, we're down here in this red zone area, and this is exactly where Tracy Claeys once again said, the defensive coordinator of Washington State, we have to play good down here. We have to play sound.
They gave up a third down catch for a touchdown. Last time Houston had the ball. Handoff this time. Straight ahead. Nice moves. Inside the 5. Still going. Patrick Carr. First down to Houston. It'll be first and goal.
Look, their run fits for Washington State of the front 7 guys. They're just not doing good enough right now. They're getting their shoulders turned. They're getting out of their gaps. They're not getting off blocks. And I'll tell you this, Patrick Carr and Kyle Porter so far, the 2 running backs for Houston, they are running like guys who are just possessed and determined to get the ball in the end zone. And this is something that Washington State had some trouble with last week. They're going to have to shore this up, because what they're doing is they're hogging the ball too, and they're taking time off the clock and not getting their offensive chance to be on the field.
King, play fake. King, one-on-one. And he will not quite get to the goal line. Justice Rogers this time found a way to get him on the turf.
Yeah, the field becomes more condensed as you get closer to the goal line. You don't have as much room to work, and Justice Rogers does a good job right there of wrapping De'Eric King up and getting him on the ground.
I think that is a nightmare for any defensive player. If you're in the open field one-on-one with that guy,
it's everything that you think it is, and not in a good way. There's no question about that. But again, this is where it becomes tough for the offense down here, because they don't have as much room to work with. And both of these defensive coordinators have said these teams are going to move the football. It's how we play in this area of the field that's going to determine the game.
A little more of a powerful formation for Houston. Under center, King, handoff, stutter step move, and stacked up short. That's Patrick Carr. He leaned in and got pretty close. They're going to give him forward progress down to the 1. Skylar Thomas, what'd you call him? The most explosive guy?
Most explosive guy on their defense, and there he is showing up. He is going to put his shoulder pads on you, folks, and he's going to play with tremendous leverage. He's going to play with tremendous enthusiasm. And this right here, look, you can call it the air raid all you want, and they'll throw this football around all over the field. But down here on the goal line, this is old-fashioned football. This is where it's about leverage, moving people off the line of scrimmage, and playing with good fundamentals.
3rd and goal from the 1. And they do have a tight end in. King is going to come up to the line, take the direct snap, get a push from his running back into the end zone. Where's the official signal? There it is. Touchdown. Old school physical football from the 1.
Well, it doesn't get any more simple than that. This is nothing about air raid right here. You can do this in your backyard. You can get up behind the guy, take the ball from center, and then have your buddy just push you in the backside and just push you over the goal line. Now, Washington State got it going on their last drive, and they're going to have to answer this score. And I have a feeling we're going to settle in here for a good old-fashioned type of football game.
Extra point, up and good. At least a good old-fashioned air raid kind of football game.
If the air raid can be considered old-fashioned. But you know what? Tonight it is a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, we're sort of celebrating the 30th anniversary of the air raid system here tonight in Houston. And we got a ball game, 14-7, Houston with the lead. How about this? 14th straight game for De'Aaron King with a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. That is now tied with Tim Tebow himself for the longest streak in FBS history. That's good company.
I guess that is pretty truly Tim Tebow-esque, and absolutely good company. De'Aaron King is putting on a show just like they needed him to tonight.
A short kickoff there, and Harris will bounce it out to the right side with speed. Across the 35 and across the 40. A powerful finish there. So a good return. Washington State gets the ball back first. Well, the balance for Houston, not much balance for Washington State. 9 rushing yards in this first half. Plenty of time for a Mike Leach team. Gordon throws one quickly out and caught right at midfield. A gang tackle. Well, Brandon Arconato is playing a tough guy first half for Washington State. He did not have a single reception last year. He came to Washington State as a walk-on transfer. He leads these Cougars in receptions so far in 2019. Not one catch last year. All the time in the world, and he's got another catch inside the 40. So 2 plays, and already Washington State is into Houston territory.
Yeah, what you're starting to see is Anthony Gordon starting to settle in. Coach Mike Leach is starting to settle in as well and getting a good feel. And Arconato is just working the zone void.
So that pass into some coverage, but he fit it in there beautifully over the top to Bell for the catch. Another Washington State first down.
Look, Houston only rushed 3 defenders on that and dropped 8 of them. When you don't get pressure on Anthony Gordon, this is something that Dana Holgorsen said. He will find the zone holes, and right now he is settling into a groove, and that was a perfect teardrop throw.
Yeah, it's taken him a while, and yet he's still 15 for 18. A little pass fake. Borghi takes the handoff. Max Borghi gets tackled after a 1-yard gain. Houston has defended the run well.
Yeah, one of the things that they've done is they've played with tremendous leverage, tremendous pace and balance, and they're getting these guys on the ground. And you see one of the primary reasons, Grant Stewart. That guy's a tackling machine. Tremendous story. What a great kid to talk to. Trying to set the example for his siblings. This is the kind of young man that you cheer for in college football.
The leading tackler in the American Conference through 2 weeks, the junior Grant Stewart. On second down, Gordon has to move to his right. He'll throw on the move short. A rare incompletion to set up 3rd and 9. This is a big play here in the final 31 seconds of this first half.
What a nice call there by defensive coordinator Joe Cawthon. He's getting gashed a little bit, playing some zone. He comes back, changes it up, plays some man-to-man coverage, and forces Anthony Gordon to hold the football and throw an incompletion. That's a nice job so far. Nice play calls so far on the defensive side of the ball for Houston.
It's loud in here on 3rd and 9. Over the top, toward the end zone. Into coverage, and it's intercepted. Gleason Sprewell comes up with the pick. First turnover of the night on either side. Houston's defense finds a way to get the stop.
Well, this is a standard 2-man type of coverage, meaning they're playing man-to-man underneath, 2 safeties high. Gleason Sprewell does a great job of coming over the top here. You see the corner He's up there against Roderick Fisher, and you see Gleason Sprewell coming to the screen late because all he did was just read. All he did was read what the quarterback did here. You see Sprewell just going to take off to the sideline, take the ball out of the air at his highest point. That right there is textbook safety play. Textbook safety play.
Listen to the Houston fans. You get the turnover helmet here with the Cougars. What kind of helmet is that?
Hard hat.
Okay. The turnover hard hat. I got to do some work on my helmet identification. Wow, listen to this place. What a first half for the Houston Cougars, hosting a top 20 Washington State team, and they will take a touchdown lead into halftime. Time for studio with Joey, with Jesse. Here's Matt Berry. Well, it was quite a first half, and not quite the kind of first half that we were expecting, at least in terms of the point totals. The 20th ranked Cougars of Washington State trail the unranked Houston Cougars, and maybe that's fitting for how things have gone for Wazzu so far. A kickoff out of bounds is going to give Houston excellent field position, and Dana King will bring his offense on the field.
Look, he's showing you all of his talents right now. He's showing you ability to scramble, make what they call second reaction plays and distribute the football, design runs. You know he's just a nightmare for defenders in the open field. Here you see him just throwing absolute laser to Marquez Stevenson against cover 4 in the red area for the touchdown. And then here, just good old-fashioned quarterback sneak and just punch it in. You couldn't ask for anything more from this quarterback so far in this game, and he's really the difference maker.
So King and Houston with the ball to start the second half, and a 7-point lead, a handoff, and Washington State needs to tighten that part of the defense up. Well, our Dollar General player spotlight, 10 of 14, 105 passing yards, 65 yards on the ground, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. He wasn't perfect, but he was close to it.
Yeah, look, his passing pretty much has been pinpoint. His ability to make plays in space is just electric, and we're going to talk about that all night long. And Washington State, we're going to have to see if they can get him on the ground with the first defender with better efficiency.
Well, Washington State's got a lot of work to do. Houston had the ball basically, not counting the kneel down at the end of the half, only 3 times in the first half, and yet they controlled the clock. They held the ball. Third down and 5 for Houston. They were 5 of 6 on third downs in the first half. Amazing. Dana Holgorsen over on the sideline making a call. King got word from his coach. Now he passes word around everybody on offense. Still 5 seconds on the play clock. The play clock is winding down, though. Down to 1. They get the play snapped. All that for Dana King. Just try to run for it. And it worked.
See,
keep in mind, gentlemen, Washington State's first 2 games, blowout wins. I just spoke to Mike Leach. He said his team's trying to do too much. His quarterback, his receivers, in terms of all the little details, they're not executing. Defensively, he said, tackling a major issue. You look at Houston on the ground, they gashed him in the first half for 119 yards, tackling in space, especially against Dana King, will be critical.
Well, I was shocked that they did not spot him with a first down. Now the play clock is winding down again. It's 4th and 1, and Houston kind of rushing is going for it. King, is he going to try to sneak? The ball's on the turf, and Houston's not going to get it. That just turned into a disaster, and I think they were in too much of a hurry. It doesn't matter whether Washington State recovered or not, because it was 4th down. The ball's going to Washington State no matter what. Wow. I'm wondering whether the spot in the first place was a good one. Maybe it was. I was sure it was a first down.
Recovered by Washington State.
No, I think the ball was short.
yeah,
I think
they
it was
got
a
it
good
right
spot.
there. The quarterback-center exchange, that's the most fundamental thing that you can have in football. And look, Braylon Jones, the starting center for Houston, He started at right guard the past 2 years, so you kind of wonder if maybe that was a contributing factor. If sometimes, when you get in these kind of situations, high pressure situations, it doesn't become as automatic as it should be. And when you're getting down there close to the play clock expiring, those are kind of mistakes that inevitably will happen.
I mean, that's what I kind of wonder about that. I know it's real early in the second half. You don't want to use a timeout, but if you're going to go for it, it might be worth it just to guarantee that you're organized. They did not look organized on that fourth down play, and it cost them the ball.
Yeah, like when players get nervous in high pressure situations like that and you're rushed and you're panicked, that's what happens. The most routine things all of a sudden aren't so routine, and you have a costly mistake like this and turn the ball over in your own territory against an offense that's looking to get going in Washington State.
So 2nd and 4 for Wazzu. We heard from Paul Carcaterra about Mike Leach's thoughts on the first half. What a hit. Anthony Gordon never saw him coming, and he's lucky that that was not a fumble. An incomplete pass ruled on the field. Peyton Turner got there and put the hit on.
A nice pass rush by Peyton Turner at the top of the screen, beating Liam Ryan, who moved from offensive guard to offensive tackle this year. He just kind of rips on the outside, throws a speed rush, turns the corner, and puts a good hit on him. That's just a good pass rush, and he's really their best defensive lineman, and he's showing up tonight.
Trying to convert a third down for the first time. Gordon did not like what he saw at first. He'll dump it down, and Borghi has got the first down and more. Such a great safety valve for Washington State, the sophomore Max Borghi.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon is showing you a little bit something as far as his game is concerned. He hasn't had to show movement in the pocket in the first 2 games because he's had tremendous pass protection. Well, now, because of how Houston is mixing up their pass rush, sometimes dropping in coverage, sometimes throwing extra rushers at him, he's having to adapt his game on the fly here, and you're finding out a little bit about him as far as his ability to be a pure playmaker.
1st and 10 for Gordon and the Washington State offense. Will again check down to Borghi. Right now, that is the best option for Wazzu. Borghi, who's a good running back through the air. He can really catch. That's his 5th reception of this game. He caught 53 balls last year as a true freshman. 2nd most among all running backs in the FBS.
Look, when Mike Leach talked about him, he said, look, he can do more than just run the ball. In our offense, he's going to be expected to be able to block and be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, although they don't necessarily typically have 1,000-yard rushes. And he's showing you just how valuable he's going to be in this football game if the wide receivers can't get open on a regular basis.
2nd and 2, play fake, and that little inside screen play caught inside the 5. Lunging for the goal line. Great effort from Tay Martin, but he stopped about a yard short. Wow. 12-yard gain. It'll be 1st and goal.
You see what Coach Leach is doing. He's calling catch and run type of plays. Now, he's tried to take his shots down the field, but Anthony Gordon is doing a good job now of just extending plays when he needs to, getting the ball in the hands of his playmakers when he needs to there on a wide receiver screen. They're being very resourceful tonight, and you like to see that in a team that hasn't been challenged so far, but they're being challenged tonight.
This is where they often do give it to number 21. They'll hand it off to Borghi. Touchdown. Well, the turnover turns into 6 points and maybe one more for Washington State. An extra point away from tying this game.
Number 50 for Washington State is playing as 16. 50 playing as 16.
I'm not blaming the center or the quarterback. I don't know whose fault it was, but they were disorganized. They decided to go for it after a spot that was short. I think everybody on Houston's sideline thought it was a first down, and they did not take their time, and it cost them. They couldn't get a yard. They couldn't get the ball snapped. The extra point is up and good, and we got a tie game. And this play right now is looming large in this one.
Look, this is a critical turnover in your own territory, in the quarterback-center exchange. I think it's one of the first things that you work on in training camp, and that leads to this touchdown here by Borghi. Beautifully blocked. Now we got a tie game. Now we just like starting over.
A full moon on Friday the 13th. You think this is going to be a normal night? I don't think so. Welcome back to the Advocare Texas kickoff game on ESPN from Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. We got a good one. Number 20 Washington State on the road. Technically a neutral game, but Houston fans are here in big numbers, and it's 14-14 after a fumble on a 4th down snap. Turned the ball over to Washington State. Wazzu took it and went right into the end zone for a touchdown to tie the game. Still early here in the third quarter. Dave Fleming, Louis Riddick, Paul Carcaterra. And the kickoff is deep into the end zone for a touchback. So Advocare King and the offense back out there. Patrick Carr makes a man miss. Carr for a nice gain of 8 on first down. That to me has been a big part of the story of this one. It's air raid night. It's Holgorsen. It's Leach. The running game for Houston has been super productive.
Yeah, both of these backs have run with tremendous vision, quick feet, tremendous finish. They're finishing physically on these runs inside the tackles.
Play fake. King going deep down the middle of the field. It is incomplete, but here come 2 penalty flags, and that was an easy call. Skylar Thomas one-on-one with the burner, Marquez Stevenson, and he might have saved a touchdown with the penalty.
Yeah, he had to do what he had to do.
Defense number 25, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
But Marquez Stevenson can absolutely fly. And when you're a defensive back, one of the hardest things to do when you're beat like that and not in control of the wide receiver is to not panic. Because you hear the crowd, you can see the wide receiver's eyes just get big as saucers, and you know the ball's coming your way, and it's hard to keep your composure. But instead of giving up the big play, you might as well go ahead and commit the PI and then just fight another down.
Sounds like a guy who's experienced that
I've been in
before.
there. I've been there, unfortunately.
Not a good feeling. And there is obviously a big difference between the NFL level and the college level with that rule. That's about 25 yards of field position in terms of a spot penalty and just the 15-yarder. So the first down run gets Houston right around midfield. Patrick Carr missed the first 2 weeks. He is a talented running back from just north of here, the Woodlands. Big-time high school player. Lots of big programs wanted him. He wanted to stay home. That's a theme for this Houston program. There is so much good football in this city. King back to pass, gets away. Downfield. On the move, and the delivery incomplete. That was in the hands, I thought, of Keith Corbin. Now they're saying catch. I mean, the ball is sitting on the turf.
What a tremendous job there, though, by Advocare King of buying time, getting outside the pocket, and making a tremendous throw, despite the fact that it's ruled incomplete.
Incomplete pass.
Yeah, I don't think that was a catch, because the ball immediately came out.
Yeah, it comes out, but that is a tremendous throw. What a heck of a throw. Tremendous job biding time in the pocket, because for once you saw Washington State actually get some tremendous pressure on him. It's a shame he couldn't complete that catch.
So now third down. That should have been a big completion, because you're right. Advocare King did everything right there. And Keith Corbin's a talented guy. Good wide receiver. Now the play clock is a problem again. And Houston has to call a timeout. And Dana Holgorsen is not unhappy with his quarterback. He is furious at the officiating crew for however they set the clock. So he has to burn the timeout.
Yeah, I think it's imperative for coaches in those kind of situations, when you have a big play, or you think you have a big play, but you don't, you know, emotions can take over, and all of a sudden you kind of lose your awareness as to how the game is going, and your team is sitting out there waiting for a call, because now this is a critical third down situation. You just got scored on. The game's tied up. The team's counting on you. Hey, get us a play, coach. We got to keep playing here. And then the clock starts getting down, and you have to burn a timeout. See, Dana has to make sure he stays composed here, too, because his team is playing out of its mind right now, and they're playing a good football game. So he has to keep his composure so they keep theirs.
That did not look like the picture of composure to me.
Dana's fired up, man. And, you know, and you love that about him. It can be good and it can be bad. And he's got his team rolling right now. And let's just see what they do here on this third down.
Well, the play clock has been a big factor here in the third quarter for the Houston offense. He is still so unhappy. 3rd and 7. Man in motion, King in the pocket. Looking downfield. He'll take the hit and deliver the ball incomplete. Off the hands of his receiver. That one could have been caught, I think. It would have been a tough catch, a good catch.
It's a good job right there by Willie Taylor as far as hitting Advocare King legally. And then you see the safety, Daniel Isom, do a good job of getting his hand on the ball, getting his hand on the receiver, pulling his arm down, and finishing the play. Now, that's just good team defense. But that's a big play. That's a big play for Washington State to finally get off the field on third down after going 5 for 6, or Houston converting 5 of 6 in the first half and giving their offense the ball back.
Not punt, fair catch, first Houston punt of the night. And Washington State comes up with the stop. Anthony Gordon and the offense back on the field. Tie game right after this. Senior quarterback Anthony Gordon may be a blossoming star for the Washington State Cougars. His first chance to play of his college career. He comes from a family of quarterbacks. His dad Ryan at Terranova High School in Pacifica, California, right on the Pacific Ocean. His uncle Greg Reynolds, who is a great baseball pitcher, high round pick in the MLB draft. His uncle Phil was a quarterback. His brother Nate a quarterback. His youngest brother Dominic is currently a quarterback for Terranova High School in Pacifica, a program with a lot of history and a lot of family history for that guy who waited his turn in Pullman behind Luke Falk and then behind Gardner Minshew last year. And now he takes over, and he has had a great start to the year. But in a fight tonight against Houston, Gordon on the move, shovels a pass complete to a guy who's having a big start to the year, Brandon Arconato, and another good game tonight.
He's just being like a point guard, just distributing the football, doing whatever he needs to do in order to get himself in favorable down and distance situations. It hasn't been the big play tonight. They haven't been able to just go up over the top. I don't think we've called Desmond Patton's name once tonight. And he's been a big-time playmaker for him. So Houston's making him go the hard way. And again, you're finding out something about Anthony Gordon. Can he play in these dirty type of football games where it's not all big plays and theatrics?
He throws across the middle. Arconato with another catch and run. That's a Washington State first down. For more on Gordon, although there is a penalty flag back behind the play. We're going to send it to Cart, but that's a roughing the passer call.
Defense number 93, 15 yards to the end of the run, automatic first down.
Atlius Bell, the junior, called for the personal foul.
Well, that's a tremendous inside pass rush by Atlius Bell. And you just got to pull up. You got to have some restraint. This is a highly emotional game. You're in a tough game where you actually tie score with the 20th ranked team in the country. You just got to be smart. You can't self-destruct at this point.
I mean, it's not the most malicious play, but you got to be smarter than that, period. And now Washington State near midfield. Gordon looking to go downfield. That guy has been open over and over again. Arconato, another catch and another first down.
I spoke to Anthony Gordon this week. He was actually drafted by the New York Mets. But when you saw his family tree, his uncle Greg Reynolds was the #2 overall pick in the 2006 Major League Baseball draft. He saw the grind of baseball players. He saw how difficult it was for him, and he decided for football, and I like this kid's future.
There's Patman, open, touchdown.
There he is.
Maybe the first time we have called his name. Lewis just mentioned him. Where is he? And Des Patman with the touchdown from number 18.
Well, I can tell you this, Dave, when you see Desmond Patton up close, this is a grown man. I know we're going to talk about Desmond Patton here a little bit more as this game goes on, because you just figure he's going to get loose eventually. But I was saying, you see him in pregame. I walked past this young man. I was like, is that a defensive end? Is that Julius Peppers? Or is that a wide receiver? This guy is put together. And they should be putting the ball up to him as much as possible.
Well, they finally found a way to get him involved. And Des Patman, the senior from San Diego, 6'4", 228. And he can run like this.
I mean, just look at that. That's a perfect throw from Anthony Gordon. Desmond Patton just tracks it down in between double coverage. It doesn't get any better than that.
You know what? Houston is inspired. There is a lot going on in this town, sports and otherwise. And tonight we got a heck of a game. Washington State is being challenged, but the Cougars from Pullman have come to life here in the second half. They were down 14-7 at halftime. The third quarter has been all Washington State after their second touchdown of the quarter. A short kickoff after that taunting penalty. So the Cougars of Houston have a chance for good field position, and that is ended with that hit. Wow. And you hope that everybody's just okay. Tyrese Ross, the redshirt freshman. I tell you what, with those defenders in the backfield, if he hadn't caught that errant snap, that could have been a disaster for Houston. Knocked down by Jahad Woods, who's making some plays on the defensive side here in the second half.
He's been all over the field. He's been highly productive for Washington State through the first 2 weeks of the season and here into the third week in this game against Houston. And he's just a playmaker all around.
So 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Patrick Carr alongside King. And in motion Corbin. This is designed for De'Ara King. Off to the races. A flag thrown. In fact, 3 of them. King is going to score. This is going to be another killer penalty against Houston. And Dana Holgorsen knows it. And the flags came from all over the place. Wow.
Holding, offense number 13, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Second down.
Well, I know he's been upset at the officials, but everybody threw flags there. So Singleton there at the bottom. Well, yeah, I guess he held it.
He's got him hooked.
And that was a key to that long. It was going to be a really good game, but that did spring him free.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's something that Dana Holgorsen and his staff has emphasized to these wide receivers is blocking down the field, because that usually is the difference between a big game like this and a touchdown. And unfortunately right there, just didn't make it clean enough.
Wow, so they didn't even get a first down after that. They netted 4 yards. That seems like they didn't get that spot right to me, but maybe I'm wrong. Carr empties the backfield. King in the pocket, and that one is incomplete. Here comes 2 more flags from the opposite direction. George Hicks with contact.
You see a noticeable difference, though, as far as how Washington State
Pass interference defense. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
is approaching defending this offense here.
At the end of the third quarter.
Well, Washington State, the third quarter was good for the Pullman Cougars tonight. 2 touchdowns after trailing by 7 at the half. Borghi, after a turnover, punched it in. The Houston head coach not happy. 21-14 as we go to the 4th in Houston. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. A battle of Cougars versus Cougars. There are only 3 teams in the FBS that have the Cougar nickname. We got 2 of them going head-to-head. And can you believe this? John Bender, who was the Washington State head coach more than a century ago, he came to Houston. He was hired by the University of Houston, and he started a team to play football for the first time at Houston. And he said, you know what? I love that Cougars nickname. Houston was literally named after Washington State. Look at the penalties in this game. Would have been a big factor. Porter with the carry, bounces it outside into Washington State territory. Kyle Porter with the nice run. $14 yards, 175 on the ground for Houston. Been a major part of their game plan, and we've talked so much about air raid and these 2 coaches on the ground floor of building this offense that is spread all around football. There is a difference, though. Houston and Dana Holgorsen's version, they are going to run the ball more often. They flick it back to Marquez Stevenson. Steven with speed, and Stevenson pushed out of bounds. Another Houston first down.
Dana's calling a very smart game. He knows that he has to utilize his entire play call sheet, which involves maybe making it look like it's going to be some kind of quarterback power, and it's really just a flip and an end around to Marquez Stevenson. Just something to slow down Washington State's defense, because they have played much faster here in the second half, sending a lot of blitzers, getting a lot of penetration. How do you slow that down? Give them a lot of misdirection behind the line of scrimmage, make them think a little bit.
They play fake, so that maybe is some misdirection, but well covered. King throws it away.
What's interesting about Coach Leach is this. He's going to throw it. He don't care if you know it. Everyone else knows it too. It's just whether or not you can stop it. Because he feels like he has the personnel. He has the quarterback. He has the stable wide receivers. He has an experienced offensive line. So he's just going to do what he does. Dana has to play it a little bit more diverse. He's got to utilize everything once again on his play call sheet in order to get the most out of the players that he has and get the ball to a few people like De'Aaron King, like Marquez Stevenson, like Keith Corbin.
That's why Mike Leach says, I'm the purist. I run the real air raid. Everybody else is a hybrid. King took 2 big hits and got stuffed. So down by a touchdown, 11 plus to go in the 4th quarter. A 3rd down and long. This is 3rd and about 9.
Now here you are, high red zone, 25-yard line. You know they're going to have to throw the football. Now, do you play coverage, or do you send 5, send 6? Do you bluff like you're going to send 5 and then drop out and just play coverage? Now you got the offense where you want them. Now you can be creative.
Let's find out. They rush 4, it looked like. The pass is incomplete. He had him. He had him. And the ball was just a little bit overthrown.
Yeah, Dana had the call that he wanted. He had the one-on-one matchup on the outside. They had it blocked up pretty good in there. That's just something that Derek has to get better at. This is where he has to complete the football. You see here, they rush 3. They spy him once again with Jahad Woods. He just has to hit that out route. He has a clean pocket, just step into it and deliver it and put it on him, and he misses him. Those are the things that'll take his game from good to great, and people will start talking about him as being someone who could be like a Kyler Murray, maybe, who could be a pro type of quarterback.
42-yard field goal try, so they're trying for points here. The kick is up, and this time it is good from Dalton Witherspoon. So the Cougars get 3, not the 7 that they wanted. They cut the lead down, though, 21-17, 10:45 to go here in Texas. Downtown Houston, that's where we are. This state of Texas has been, in a lot of ways, the cradle of the air raid. Hal Mumme, who really came up with a lot of the concepts when he was a high school coach outside of Austin. Of course, Mike Leach in Lubbock. Art Briles took the air raid and made it his own in Baylor, in Waco. Sonny Dykes, Seth Luttrell, Jake Spavital, now current head coaches, along with Dana Holgorsen, who are running at least some version of this Mike Leach, Hal Mumme, Dana Holgorsen air raid offense. And it's spread everywhere. It's at the NFL level. It's at the high school level. But in some ways, this here is kind of the cradle of this offense.
Yeah, it's fun to watch now. I mean, Mike Leach uses those wide splits by his offensive lineman. Doesn't run the ball very much. Really wants to use the running back as an extra receiver. Dana, much more traditional splits with his offensive lineman. Very creative run game.
How about this? Borghi has to go back and retreat, and he's going to get tackled inside the 5. You wonder sometimes, why do you squib kick it? Why do you do that? Every once in a while you get that.
Exactly.
Gordon from the end zone. Will throw short. Borghi tipped and almost intercepted. Not quite. Stewart laid out and couldn't keep it from hitting that turf.
That would have sent this place into an uproar. Deep in your own territory like that. Tips and overthrows. That's what they say on defense. You got to get the tips and overthrows. Here it's a tip ball. A rare miss by Gordon. That would have been a great play by Grant Stewart and really would have changed the complexion of this game and given them prime field position going in.
Second down. Gordon chased. Gordon going to run, and he sort of did his own version of the hurdle. Maybe it wasn't quite as graceful as Max Borghi, but it worked. That's a nice gain, and they're going to give him the first down.
He's had to work for everything he's gotten in this game. Look, he's hit a couple big plays. He's hitting Aesop Woodson. He hit Desmond Patman on big plays, but he's had to work for all the rest of the plays that he's made here, and he's had to do it in ways he didn't have to do it the first 2 weeks. And you're seeing the growth of the 5th-year guy who's now making his first start, or rather his first season as a full-time starter, and it's fun to watch.
And it's not his first start, but this is his first real test. Little pump fake. Ran into his own man. Not this time. He can't get away. That's a sack. You know, one thing about playing the air raid and Mike Leach, a lot of times in the 4th quarter, your defense is tired. Been on the field for a long time. Houston has controlled the ball enough to to where their defense should still have some juice. On 2nd and 11, Anthony Gordon being chased on the move, throws, he's got his man caught for a first down and much more. Arconado with another catch and run.
Those off-schedule plays, moving outside the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field and finding his guy, Arconado, who's just one of those people who just really gets how to work the zone voids and coverage. And this is just another great job by Anthony Gordon. You can't say enough about him tonight. It has not been easy work for him, although they are putting up some numbers and his completion percentage has been high. He's having to work for it. They're making him earn it, and he's getting everything that he wants, especially when he gets outside the pocket and has to create, which is something I didn't realize he had to his game.
He has shown off a lot of game, and he put that one right on target, bouncing it to the outside. On the move, Tay Martin inside the 30 and all the way down close to the 20.
Field level, I'll tell you what, Washington State in the trenches is starting to wear down this Houston defensive line. You look at some of these Houston guys, they're gassed. And the big misconception with Mike Leach, everyone thinks quarterbacks and wide receivers. That is a position that he's coached longer than any in his career.
1st and 10 on the move. Anthony Gordon will swing it out to the flat, and it is going backwards. You can kind of see that coming.
Well, he had Easop Winston on the wheel route down the sideline. That might have been 6. He just didn't see him. Yeah, I think you're going to see the receiver right here. He's just going to run a little wheel route, 2 through the zone. You see him put his hand up, but he wasn't able to identify him quick enough. And they've had a couple of those free runners, you know, in the deep part of the field a couple of times that Anthony hasn't seen, but maybe could have blown this game wide open.
2nd and 14. Gordon throws, and this time he sees his receiver. Martin inside the 10. Tay Martin gets driven down. But that's another Washington State first down.
Yeah, they're starting to crank it up now. And hey, Clark hit on the fact it's not just the defensive linemen that are getting tired. The secondary players, they really start getting tired too, because they're chasing these fleet of wide receivers all over the place. All these long crossing routes, all these 9 balls down the sideline, these wide receiver screens where they're trying to fight off offensive linemen coming out there and blocking them. This is a tough assignment against a football team that's this deep at the skill positions.
Remember, this drive started after the squib kickoff all the way down inside the 10. And Washington State's got 1st and goal. Gordon steps up, throws, and it is caught for the touchdown. Travell Harris. I think that's another example of the kind of play you're talking about with Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, his movement in the pocket, his ability to keep his eyes down the field and let his receivers work. Let them find open areas, whether it be against zone or when they're man-to-man, just breaking their routes off and really just turning it into playground ball like you would do out at recess when you're in elementary school. And sometimes the game becomes that. It's not an exact science. And Gordon is showing you, I can play however you want me to play, and I'll still deliver it to my guys.
This guy is not just a system quarterback. He's not.
No, he's going to be fun to watch. He's going to be fun to watch the rest of this season because he seems to be dialed in. And for a guy in his first full season as a starter, as a 5th-year senior, he has taken advantage of everything that's being afforded him. And right now, he's blown this game open for the Washington State Cougars.
28-17, Washington State getting really tested, but coming up with some huge plays here in the second half. They were down 14-7 at halftime, and they now lead 28-17. Still 6:43 to go. This game is by no means over. A short kickoff, and the fair catch is going to put the ball at the 25-yard line. 6:43 to go, 4th quarter from Houston, Texas. De'Aaron King will throw short, a little crossing route, and the ball comes out at the end of that play. I'm not sure if he was down or not. Marquez Stevenson lost the ball, and now a true rugby scrum to try to come away with it.
I'll tell you what, Bryce Beekman, the safety, closed on that thing like a flash.
And Washington State comes up with the ball.
So after giving up the touchdown early in this football game because of the mistake that he made in basically quarters coverage, he came downhill like a bullet and just absolutely, look at this. This is a tremendous play. Helmet right on the football. And as a receiver, you can't hold on to the ball when someone places their hat on it like that. That's a textbook play. That's as good as you can draw it up right there.
So the big hit, there was no question whatsoever that the ball came out. Cosmas Quete came up with the recovery. Marquez Stevenson unhappy. A turnover at the very worst time. Houston needed not only to score, but to do it in a hurry. And instead, they give the ball back to Washington State in scoring position inside the 30. They'll start at the Houston 26. A play fake. And the catch. And run after the catch for a Washington State first down to the 15-yard line. Bernard Bell. How many receivers does this team have?
I was just thinking that they have so many guys, so many people that that are just interchangeable. They can play inside, play outside. They can play the long ball on the outside. They can play the short game as far as wide receiver screens. They have so many different options they can go to.
9 different Cougars have caught a pass in this game, and that's normal for them.
Yeah,
that's just like a standard night.
I say incredible. They say, yeah, what's new?
A little shoulder fake. Gordon throws short. That's caught and inside the 5. It'll be first and goal. Who else? He has been the stud tonight. Brandon Arconato. Just an amazing story. This is a former walk-on who did not have a catch, not one, all of last year.
I can tell you this, NFL scouts are going to be keeping an eye on him because guys like him that can work the middle of the field day like this, with that kind of instinctiveness and that kind of toughness, you saw him take a big hit and hold on to the football early in this game. They're at a premium.
Borghi got drilled in the backfield. So Houston needs a stop here in the worst way. Yeah, even if they could hold Washington State to a field goal, I don't know if Washington State would actually try a field goal, but if they could, that would be a big play. Keep their hopes alive in this game. Clock is moving, and Washington State will not be in a huge hurry at this point. Second down and goal from the 5. Gordon incomplete, off the hands maybe of a defender and Tate Martin. Third down.
Yeah, it looks like Gleason Sprewell, the safety, had a shot at maybe picking that one off and going to the house and taking it the distance, which would really have, infused some energy into their sideline.
That would have changed.
That was a close one. That was close. He made a good read on it. You're going to see him right here. Oof! If he had just got up a little bit higher, gotten both hands on that ball and pulled it down. Good read by him, good positioning by him. Risky throw by Anthony Gordon.
He was turned around, but even so, there was nobody around him.
No one.
So it's 4th and goal, and Mike Leach will send the field goal kicker out there. Blake Mazza, 4 for 4 on the season. 22-yard field goal try. Kick is up, and it is good. So you got the full 14-point lead now. With 3:50 to go, Houston's going to have to score, and they're going to have to score fast. We'll be back after a minute break to Houston, Texas. Dave Fleming, Louis Riddick, Paul Carcaterra, 31-17, 3:50 to go. This was a 14-7 game. Houston leading at halftime. Second half has been dominated impressively so by Washington State. Even so, there have been a lot of what-if moments for Houston.
But I'll tell you what, Washington State has dialed up their pass rush. And now they're going to just drop 3 here, cover with 8.
Another handoff, and why not take a chunk? That's no problem with taking 10 yards. The clock will stop at least briefly for the first down, right to midfield. We have the onside kick also as a possibility, so you can score a touchdown, make it a 1-score game, and then try to get the ball back right away. But you can't waste a lot of time here. King in the pocket. Will throw across the middle, and that one is caught. Keith Corbin hanging on. The Houston receivers have not always helped De'Aaron King tonight. That was a good catch.
Look, he had Marcus Strong draped all over him on that shallow crosser, or that intermediate crosser. That's a good strong catch.
I'll hand it off again. That one not as good of a play. Clock continues to roll. 31-17. We will go under 3 minutes to go here.
They got to get some chunks. They got to get this ball in the end zone. Then they got to get it back.
2 timeouts to go for Houston. King throws middle again, and the ball comes out again. They'll rule that incomplete. It has been a big issue for Houston, just hanging on to the ball. Simple stuff. That was Cole McGowan. They have not converted a 3rd down in this half. They were so good at it in the first half.
5 to 6.
You know, one thing that you've been saying, you got to give Washington State's defense some credit.
Yeah, the defensive backs, the second level players, the linebackers and secondary guys have done a good job of really raking at the football on those catches that have been made, which results in PBUs sometimes, and at the very least it results in the fact that they get guys on the ground and not getting a lot of yardage after the catch.
Hand off. Patrick Carr will get the first down and much more. Carr gets out of bounds inside the 15. That was a good play call. I think took everybody by surprise on 3rd and 9.
There's no doubt about the fact that these 2 running backs, Patrick Carr and Kyle Porter, tonight have done everything that Dana Holgorsen has asked of them. These guys have tremendous quickness, tremendous vision, good lower body balance, and they're going to start moving the football and they're going to start scoring points. You almost have to play an error-free game, which means when you get an opportunity to create turnovers, you have to get them. When you have the ball in your hands, you have to guard it because you're carrying the fortunes of the rest of the roster in your hands. And if you turn it over, this team will make you pay.
King out of the open. De'Aaron King touchdown. Not over yet.
And when you have a quarterback like De'Aaron King, you can change the momentum of this game in a hurry, and you still have life.
All right, let's talk about this. We'll assume that the extra point is up and good, even if it's not. 2:21 with 2 timeouts against this high-flying offense. The onside kick, no matter what, I would.
It's a great job, quarterback draw, making people miss in the open field. That looked like the first half. That looked like how the offense was going early in this game. And now Dana Holgorsen has an interesting decision to make.
To me, the field position doesn't matter as much as even just some chance to come up with the ball again.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to stop Washington State 3 and out, you're kind of asking for it. So I don't know. I mean, you can still stop them even if you don't get the onside kick. I would do it just on the 10% chance you come up with a ball. Why not?
It looks like Houston's defense is gassed at this point. Washington State really seems to be dialed in. Their depth is starting to take over as far as their ability to create plays down the field.
I think Washington State definitely thinks there's a possibility of
They're playing them for the onside.
They are.
It's a single return of that.
And they're gonna on the turf, big high bounce, and it is taken by Washington State. So well done. That does not end the game. You got 2:18. I think it's easily worth what you give up in field position. Tay Martin, starting wideout, comes up with the onside kick.
That's as good as an onside kick as you can expect there. You get the double hop. You got to get some runners down there, see if they can get their hands on the ball. You put your best hands people out there on the field. And I can tell you this, that's a dangerous job. That's not a job that you want.
No.
Being out there on hands team. I can tell you that.
Anthony Gordon, 3rd quarterback with 400 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, first 3 games of a year. Graham Harrell, who's coordinating at USC, Patrick Mahomes, and Anthony Gordon in the last 15 years. This is a guy who had never started a game.
He's a tremendous story, isn't it? This is what sports is all about. Being patient, continuing to develop. Now it's your time to shine. Oh,
Borghi breaks tackles, and he gets the first down. He gets pulled out of bounds, so they stop the clock inside the 40 down to the 36-yard line. If folks around the country, college football fans, didn't watch the 2 games in Pullman, non-conference, low-level opponents, and thought, Anthony Gordon, he's putting up the numbers against nobody, and wondered, is this guy legit or is it just Mike Leach? I think he's legit.
Oh, so do I. So do I. I like it. And I say that because of the style of play that he's having to play with tonight. It's just not so clean. It's not 7-on-7 out here. And I'll tell you, here's another guy that's kind of catching my eye tonight.
They let the play clock run most of the way down, not all the way down. Snap the ball. Houston probably will take a timeout now. They do.
You know, we're talking a lot about Iowa Wesleyan and Hale Mummy and Mike Leach and Dana Holgorsen. When we spoke to Mike Leach this week, I thought it was fascinating. When I asked him to go back 3 decades and describe his job and description of everything he had to do at Iowa Wesleyan, he said it was long. He was the recruiting coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the SID, the equipment man. They actually wanted him to coach baseball. Dave Fleming, I know you're a baseball guy. What kind of skipper do you think he'd be?
I think he's got the perfect demeanor to be a baseball manager. Get the lineup right and let your players play. And know when to go to the bullpen. I think he's pretty good at that stuff. Gordon on the move will throw it away. That stops the clock. I mean, you'd almost, I don't know. That's a tough one. Would you almost rather take the sack and keep the clock moving, make them burn their timeout? That's a tough decision to make on the fly.
I think in this situation, this offense is so geared towards constantly putting the pressure, even in this kind of situation, on the opponent.
That's a free timeout, though, when you throw an incompletion.
It is. You don't want to stop the clock. You just want to get on out of here and chalk up the W.
Well, Houston's got a chance if they could stop him here to get the ball back with some time. They have 1 timeout remaining. So one last chance for the Houston defense on 3rd and 8. They're going to hand it off. Max Borghi straight ahead. Borghi picking his way, and he gets the first down. The guy you were just talking about, only a sophomore. He took a hit. But he held onto the ball and got the first down, and that will essentially put this game away.
That's great patience on that inside zone. Tremendous leverage, vision, desire to finish, all the things that scouts look for in running backs. I mean, he's showing them tonight, and he has jumped on a lot of people's radar as far as someone to watch as far as an all-purpose back in college football.
He could have had a much bigger statistical night if not for a penalty that seemed to have absolutely nothing to do with his long touchdown catch and run. They blow the play dead. Houston has a timeout. I don't know if they're going to actually use it. In the air raid, even to end the game, you don't go under center.
That wouldn't be the Mike Leach way.
He's the purist. There's only one who runs the actual air raid. Hey, hi, Anthony. You're on TV. I think he just looked up to the video board and saw himself.
He sure did.
Look, he played at CCSF the last time he started a game before this year. They weren't on ESPN.
Tremendous story, tremendous competitiveness tonight. This is a good win for them because of the way they won. And I think they've learned something about their football team now as they get into the meat of their schedule.
2 guys who've known each other for 30 years. Now they can be friends again.
That's really cool.
Dana Holgorsen, he's got a good team. Mike Leach, he might have a really good team. Because you're right, they got tested and came away with a win. For Paul Carcaterra, for Lewis Riddick, for Scott Matthews, our producer, Anthony DeMarco, our director, and our whole crew here from Houston. Fun game and a good game. Number 20, Washington State gets it done by a touchdown. Sports Center coming up in 15 seconds.